Well, hello, everybody, and a very happy Monday to you. I hope that you have had a wonderful, week and, weekend, and you're ready to start the new week fresh. But on today's episode, I've got something that's a little bit deep to talk about as we move into the holiday season. I know that, lots of parties are going to be happening. There's lots of things that are going on. But in actual fact, not everybody has a great time during the holiday season. And so I brought to the show today in our Zoom booth my dear friend Peter Hudson.
How's
And
everybody doing out there?
yeah, how's everybody doing? And I'm so happy that you're here, Peter, because you did a show with us, I want to say a couple of years ago. And at that time, we were really sort of talking about mental health and we were talking about addiction. But we know that this time of year is the largest proportion between now and March. Actually, it's the 2 months, right? December and March, which have the largest proportion of people that die by suicide, and particularly men.
Yeah.
So, how about, Peter, we start with talking about, first of all, why this is so passionate for you,
Yeah.
and really let's break this discussion open, shall we?
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Kathy. Yeah, no, I'm Peter Hudson. Thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it. It's passion. I first of all work in mental health and addiction. I have my own issues like a lot of people. Um, but I lost my best friend actually 4 years today. Lost my best friend to suicide, and yeah, it's the hole it's left has been unbelievable, but I don't forget, and I've actually really educated myself in suicide and men's mental health. 75% of it is, you're right now it's suicide season right now is what I call it. It's the only way to put it.
Yeah.
75% of suicides are male. 92% after a divorce or a separation, 92% are male.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really high, and it's not with the struggles of the world right now, the cost of everything, Christmas coming up, families, the pressure of the cost of living and just surviving right now. Uh, it's hard on people, and it's hard on men, especially men. We're always that old-fashioned thing that we are, the providers and the supporters, and when we feel like we're failing, I understand that.
And I think, this is such a crucial subject because, unlike women, respectfully, there are a certain number of men that talk to each other, but most men keep stuff like this so close to the chest.
Totally, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Why? I mean,
Well,
from a man's point of view, respectfully.
well, men internalize. That's the thing after the separation or divorce. That's what I'm saying, because women by nature, when they are going through something like that and going through stuff, they will gather around each other.
Yeah.
They will get on the phone. They will talk. They will text. They'll Netflix and chill. They'll go out for a walk. Which is like the healthiest stuff you can do. You know what I mean? And men will internalize and sit in their living room and drink themselves to death, or their garage, and it's because they look at it as weakness, and they think that people, men aren't allowed to feel. Let's suck it up. We come from a time, we're just on that breaking ground right now, but we come from that time that suck it up. Put your purse down. I always say, my dad ate for dessert at his dinner table his feelings.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. It's so true.
you know, yeah. So we're just we're bred to internalize and not be weak and show weakness.
Yeah. And so because men in general tend to internalize things, and because there's not a lot of resources that are often available for men, it makes it much more critical that we pay attention to this conversation when so many people are taking their lives as men. Yeah.
Totally, and it's that thing though. It's hard to see. Like I was with my best friend there. I didn't see. He was losing a ton of weight. He was drinking a lot and doing some substances. He broke up with a girl, and I noticed he was getting really skinny. I'm like, "Are you okay, man?" He's like, "Oh, he was in Mexico." So he's like, "Yeah, I lost a lot of weight. It's the heat, and he didn't want to look weak in front of me and stuff." And I did ask him that, and yeah, that's the one thing. Like when with mental illness or depression, it's not like a broken arm. You can see if somebody's arm's broken. You know, you
For
can't
sure.
see that somebody's broken inside. You know, so it's not always there. But sometimes if you do catch that sign, you know, that's why we have to look after each other. And you know, like this is a really hard time, especially here on the West Coast when it's raining. Like it starts now and it's dreary and it's getting dark early and all the obstacles and like I said, the holidays coming up. Holidays are hard on a lot of people, you know. And yeah, you have to get prepared for it.
And I think what people need to also understand is that when someone dies by suicide, and I want to straighten something out because I know that we've had some word changes about it. It used to be that people would say people committed suicide, and now people don't necessarily choose to commit to die. They often are so deeply depressed that they end up dying by suicide. So people are trying to change out the word from committed to died by. It's a it's a when we talk about mental health issues, someone who is dying by suicide has taken their life because there has been no way for them to find relief, right?
Yeah,
So I don't know, I don't think that it's a choice for somebody to just to say, "Oh my God," you know. I think that people also need to recognize that what you said is so very, very true. If you fall down, you walk with a cane or you have some kind of a visible notification that something's wrong. But when a person is, contemplating suicide, there's no sign unless you have incredible acuity to be able to,
yeah,
it's very difficult to see those signs.
it is. But you know, they are out there. I was at the gym. I was at the gym a few weeks back, and there's just this dude there. We're always like, hey, we chatting here and there. I don't know him. You know, like we don't talk outside the gym or anything. Good guy and always talkative and stuff. And I knew he was going through some stuff with he was going through a divorce and stuff. And I saw him at the gym and his he wouldn't even look at me. And he wouldn't even couldn't even talk to me. And so he had a little hoodie on and he was just like this. And I could really feel and he was talking to the trainer that was on at the gym and just like very quietly, and then like, he laughed and I was like, "Hey man, hey," he didn't even say it to me, and they left. I'm like, "It's." I asked him, I'm like, "Is he okay?" I checked in. I'm like, I felt it. It was bugging me, and it bugged me for a couple of days. I'm like, it's. He was saying, "No, he's not doing very good." I'm like, okay. So I was trying to get a hold of him, and I couldn't find his information. But I saw him at the gym like a couple of days later, and I went and checked in on him.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you doing okay? Like, come outside. Let's have a talk. Just listen to him for a bit, and told him, and gave him some resources because I know all the resort. I work in the industry, so I gave him some resources. I said, hey, that's what I think would really help you out. Send him to Brooks
Yeah.
Landing here in Nanaimo. And I gave him some numbers, and I'm like, here, I think this could help you. And he was just thankful, and that's the best that I could do. So sometimes all we can do, just listen a little bit and be there. But also, we can't take on, like, you can't take on being that person's therapist either. You can do what you can do and do your knowledge. You know what I mean? But it's not your fault. It also, that's one thing that I've learned. It's not your fault if something happens.
Yeah, I think that that's a really big piece to talk about because I think that people don't understand necessarily what happens to people that are left behind, right? The amount of
Yeah.
guilt, the amount of,
Oh, totally.
survivor's guilt that comes up. Can you talk a little bit about like I don't want to be
Yeah. No.
voyeuristic in your life, but in fairness, you've had firsthand experience with
Yeah.
this. And so, what does that look like for you when you found out, and I want to do this in honor of Matt, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is about, him. And so I'm curious, and of course, feel free only to answer as much as you're comfortable with. I don't,
No, no.
we're not trying to be voyeuristic, we're trying to understand. And so what happened for you when you first found out that Matt had gone down this path and you found out that he died by suicide?
Yeah. Um, Well, for me, there was a ton of guilt because he actually messaged me the night before, and I would already been gone to bed, and I would just say I'll talk to him more, like, and I'd already gone to bed, and I didn't get his message, and he wasn't calling out; he was just calling like to say hi or just said something. He wasn't.
Yeah.
There was no signs. Like he was doing it. He was in Puerto Vallarta, and he was doing it with another Canadian comedian. He was a comedian, a professional comedian, one of the best in ever to pick up a microphone.
Yeah.
And he was in Puerto Vallarta, and he went and did a show with another Canadian comedian. They went and got tacos, and then he went and yeah, he said went to bed. Oh, good night. Said good night to the other comedian, and went and hung himself. And he called me the night before, and I saw his message. I never got that. Was able to reply like I replied. I never got the answer, obviously, but I felt a lot of guilt
Yeah. Because you
from
didn't answer the
not
message.
being there. I'm his
Yeah.
best friend, and being there
Yeah.
to answer. Maybe one needed to talk or something. But I also worked really hard in the last few years to be like, no, like I miss him so much. I miss him every day. Like he's my
Yeah.
best friend. He's like a brother to me. And I realized that I can't take on that guilt. That was him that made that choice.
Yeah.
At the end of it, he made that choice to do what he did. He left a huge gap and hole, and we had a lot of friends and family really hurt over it. But we can't take on that guilt of him, of what he did,
Sure.
and I know that,
But
and
it
all.
doesn't make the sting of him passing away.
Oh no, no, it doesn't. And I've done so many things to make sure that he's remembered. Like, first of all, with my daughter, he was her uncle, and like my daughter was 4, so quite young, and when he left, but she remembers him,
Yeah.
and we talk about him and commemorate him and tell stories all the time. I also do. We help start the Billen Foundation, a foundation that helps uh, comedians with mental health issues, and I do fundraisers, and we always I did a show on Saturday night. I had his picture up on the speaker,
Oh,
which was so
wow.
funny because I was commemorating. I made everybody do a cheers to him. It was beautiful. Told some stories, and then his picture fell off the speaker. It was like comedy gold. Like he's still
Oh,
making
wow.
it fell right off the
Just like he was
speaker.
there.
Yeah, and I was like, so it's super funny, but I make sure I always talk about him. Like, remember when I'm around other comedians and new comedians, I always, hey, Matty used to say this, or Matt Billen used to do this, or check this out. This is how you do it, or Matt Billen. I keep him alive in spirit. So that's what I think the best that we can do is just honor our friends and loved ones.
Fantastic. It's so very true.
Yeah,
I think that people, once they have made some decisions in their life, you're right. At times, there's a little bit of a paper trail, right?
yeah,
There's, there's the tidying up of things. There's the subtle goodbyes that you may not realize are subtle goodbyes. Um, for someone, who was left behind, like I know that you're still recovering from his passing. It's evident in your voice.
yeah.
But what was that first year like for you? Because it's been a few years now, but that first year was really, really tough.
Oh man. Well, um, I was also just going through a separation of
Yeah,
my daughter's mom
yeah.
uh, after being together a pretty long time, and my family and stuff. So, and I lost my dog. I was like a bad country song. There's a lot. It was like a lot of new age country song. There's a lot of stuff happening. Um, I was actually third day of my mental health and addictions course
Yeah.
I was taking, and we were talking about men's depression. It was weird.
Wow.
I was right in the middle of that, and my friend Susie Rossman, a producer, comedy producer over in Vancouver, she's like, "Hey," she goes, "Sit down." She goes, "I don't." She goes, "This is I don't want you finding out from Facebook." She goes,
Yeah.
I need to tell you something." And I thought it was one of my other like comedy friends over there. I'm like, "Oh, I thought I had ideas."
Yeah.
about the ones. I'm like, oh, it's one of my comedy friends. I'm like, oh no. And then when she told me Matt Villain, I was like,
Oh man, that must
it
have
just
been.
hit me like a ton of bricks. And first first few weeks, I was numb. I had to take a week off school. But I went back in school because I'm like, hey, he wouldn't have wanted this.
Yeah,
Wouldn't have wanted me. He would have wanted me. He was so proud of me for doing this course.
of course.
Um, and I needed structure. I
Yes.
needed at that time more than anything, I needed purpose and structure to get up in the morning, like get dressed, shower, like do like go to school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I needed that structure and to be with those people at that time.
Well, and
And
especially because you were
and
learning about mental health at that time.
totally, and just
It's
and
like,
just
what a
and just the
healing.
purpose of like the getting up, not lying in bed, because I went through heavy depression. Like that year was hard because of my losing my family, losing my best friend. It was like, yeah, I've even had thoughts myself. I'm like, am I even worth being here? You know what I mean? But I did it the right way. I knew that I had to really work to get out of this hole. So I went through the feeling of the grief and the depression. Sometimes I just sit there in my underwear and just stare at the wall.
Oh,
I was
for
just
sure.
staring. Yeah, I was just such and just cried. And but I went to a men's meeting. Started going to a men's meeting that my friend Amit put on, and he was amazing. And that guy still checks in on me like every day.
That's great.
Yeah, I went to a men's meeting. I started cold water dipping. I I was like, what I did was I went to the doctors and they're like, you're clinically depressed right now. And they gave me a prescription, like just like a cheeseburger
Yeah.
of antidepressants. And I've done them before.
Yeah.
And I've grown up with my mom being on them and having some real bad issues with them. And I'm not knocking them. And I'm like, not saying that if you need them, you need them. How about, but I'm like, you know what? I'm not giving myself a fair shake of doing everything I can naturally
Yeah.
before I take these. I
Yeah.
might need these,
Yeah.
but I haven't like really put in the work to keep myself mentally stable. So I threw it in the garbage. I'm like, I'll get another one of these if I need one.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
easy enough
started,
to get a prescription if you need it, but in the
oh
meantime,
yeah, and I started doing men's meetings, and I started cold water dipping, going to the gym, eating right. I started going to a trauma counselor. I I just yeah, I did just put in the work, and I talked about things, and I was an open book on social media, and I was like, and I talked about things and worked through it, and was just honed in on being a dad and being a single dad, and that really got me through, and I haven't taken antidepressants yet, and I'm still here, so
and you're doing great because I
I'm
remember
doing
when
okay.
I remember when it first happened. You were on Act Three at that time.
Yeah.
And yeah, you were talking about cold dipping. So the reminder of the cold dipping because you
I'm
did
going
that
for 1.5 right after
same way.
this. I'm
Yeah.
going, and I'm going actually with the guy that's struggling a bit right now, and I'm doing exactly what a friend of mine did to me,
Yeah.
and was like, "Hey, let's go."
Yeah.
No, they're like that. They're like that does not sound fun at
It's
all.
not fun,
It's
but
not, but the what it does for you, it flips just resets your brain, your fear receptors, which is anxiety. It does something to them and just makes you feel great. So
well, and I think there's something so wonderful about feeling great. And I'm so delighted to know that you're on the other side of all of this.
thank you.
I'm curious though, because people talk about depression a lot and they throw it around, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm depressed or I'm depressed. But in actual fact, depression is really a very serious condition. Can you really like what is depression?
What is oh,
I know that's a hard, yeah, I see the
living
happiness behind you.
beside the train tracks is depression. Just kidding. Sorry about that. What is depression? Depression is, I've lived with this my whole life. Like I've had a mother that dealt with it her whole life, still is not depressed. And it was so funny. I'm like, hey, mom, I go, when did you start taking antidepressants? She's like, how old are you? Is what she said to me. And I'm like,
Wow.
so exactly when
Long
she had
time.
me, I'm like, thanks, mom.
I know, right?
But I've lived with it and know what it is. What is depression? Depression is an emotional and it can turn mentally, emotionally, and physical. I guess it would be an illness that just things aren't right. You're down. You're down. And mentally you feel like you can't get out of a rock, like, and you just want to be sleep, and you want to isolate, and you don't feel worth, you don't feel value, you don't feel happiness, you feel gloom, you feel doom, you feel like nothing's going to make this better, you feel worthless, you feel not validated, you feel there's so many things, and there's so many different types of depression too,
Of
like
course,
it's
of
like,
course.
and what can actually bring it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would be my best evaluation of it.
That's a perfect evaluation of it because I think that there's a difference between we all have a little down day, right? We
Mm,
all wake up like, today it's very cloudy, it's very
totally.
cold, we may be in a cozy room, each of us are in our prospective
100%.
rooms and everything, but outside we know, it's okay out there. You have the wherewithal to still get up and get on with it, right?
Totally.
Whereas when you're depressed, I think that, like you said, it's this much, much deeper place where you
uh,
just don't have it in you to be able to do that. And I'm curious about the difference between grief and depression, because I know that when people are at a point where they're ready to die by suicide, they are often, they may be grieving the relationship ending or what they
yeah,
thought their future was going to be,
yeah,
right? And people go inside of themselves. But
yeah.
when is that shift from being depressed to grief or grief to depressed? At what point is there something that just happens, or does someone just literally wake up one morning and say, I just can't do this?
I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I just think there's so many
Yeah.
contributors to depression. Like, yeah, I can't. Yeah, there's so many contributors, and that's part. Like, you're allowed to be depressed. If you ever look at a grief chart,
Yep.
that's part of it. And
Yes.
nobody grieves the same.
Exactly.
There's anger, there's down. Like, you're allowed to feel like that too.
Yeah. And
Like
depressed, you're allowed to be depressed also. Like
you're
nothing,
all totally, totally.
nothing is wrong with that.
And nothing wrong with it. Like, everybody
Yeah.
goes through it, and most people. And if you're like to look at, I was thinking about, because I was going to go talk to the school. It's like one in three people will suffer from depression, and like
Yeah.
out, and that leads to alcoholism and addiction. It's like all the contributors to it. But for me, and I know it's easier said than done, but something my always like, she knew I always had my struggles. She was like, you're allowed to have a down day, just sit on the couch, do nothing, like, you can do that. She goes, but like, the next day you gotta be doing something about it. You know what I mean? And like working to figuring it out, and like doing something, even if it's go for a walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because you
you
can
have to
only
make your
really
mind up.
marinate. You can only, otherwise you're just gonna, excuse my language, but marinate in your shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And,
That's the bottom
and to
line.
be
You're
honest
just,
with you, I think everybody marinates in their shit once in a while,
oh, totally,
right?
totally. But
Like we
it's
all
you
do.
totally, totally. And when it's up to us to and that's either whether getting on medication or anything, but it's up to us. If it's going for like months, weeks and months, you need to, you need to do something about it
Yeah.
to make, you know what I mean? Because we all deserve health and happiness.
And I think one of the best ways that we talked about it at the start of the hour For women, we tend to reach out and we tend to talk to
Yeah.
people. But I don't want to let that be the full story because it is a fallacy to believe that every woman will go out and talk about it.
Totally, and it's true. Yeah, the suicide happens with females too. It's a
Yes.
thing, with everybody. But like you can, if you're really suffering, you can call 988.
Yeah.
You can call 811.
Yeah.
Those are two numbers you can call. You know what I mean? That will help you with mental health services. There are services and drug. There's counselors, mental health counselors, and there it's stuff that you people feel like lost. They just don't know this stuff exists.
That's
So
so
like yeah,
true.
in Nanaimo we have a mental. We go to Brooks Landing. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say it's everything's gonna cure you, but it's a start. And if we're taking those baby steps and making a start out of it, then
I think the baby steps are the best and most important piece. So I'm glad that you sort of segued to places that we can go. And I just want to take a minute to invite our listeners to please go grab yourself a piece of paper and a pen. During the course of the remainder of this hour, we are going to talk about some resources that may be available to you.
totally.
And how you can reach out and talk to Peter as well, because I think
Totally.
that sometimes just having another person to chat with about these things is a very good thing. And I'm looking forward to exploring this conversation more. Before I do that, though, I'm going to take a quick station identification. So if you just tuned in, thanks very much for tuning into Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. I am honored to be your host. I'm Kathy Holmes. We've been doing this for a minute now. It's been a few years, and so I'm really, really delighted to be with you every Monday at 1 o'clock. I'm also really happy to be able to share our stories on our YouTube channel, which is Act 3 Media Productions, and on iHeartRadio and Spotify. I also want to let you know there's a ton of stuff going on in town, so I encourage you to check out Nanaimo and Voyager magazine. And if you do it online, you can see what events are happening there. So it's worth checking out them and seeing what they're doing. And also, there's a lot of fundraising stuff going on. There's Christmas Angels that is happening with Volunteer Nanaimo. If you want to be an angel and help out in our community, what an amazing way to do it. So reach out to Volunteer Nanaimo. It's very easy to find them. Just go to Google, type in volunteernanaimo.ca, and boom, you're there. And so there's that. And also, Scott Farron, who was on the show a couple of times, does a program called Helmet Heads. And he takes his motorcycle along with many of his friends, and they wear the wonderful Muppets on their heads. But they do that so you can see them when they're on the road, but they do a big toy run and they take new unwrapped toys to every single hospital on Vancouver Island. Yes, I said every single hospital. So many of the kids in hospital are remembered at Christmas time, but not during the rest of the year. This gentleman does it all year long, every hospital in town. So if you want to participate with him, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to get you set up with Scott Farron or check him out. You can easily check him out on Facebook for helmetheads.ca. Of course, I know that there's more. There's always more that's going on in our community, but I'm going to ask you as a personal favor to do me something, a big honor. And that is if you really, really want to help out in this community, this is the season to do it. Whatever you're passionate about, it doesn't matter what it is. It all matters and it's all important. I was one of those kids that received hampers at Christmas time from the Salvation Army. If it wasn't for the CKNW Orphans Fund, I would not be in the position I am in life today. And so I am so grateful for all of that. And we do pay it forward. Trust me on this one. We do. So if you want to give, please give generously to your favorite charity this year. I'm looking forward to being back in the program with my dear friend Peter Hudson. You know Peter Hudson. Peter is our he's the laugh about town. This man is one of the best comedians you will find anywhere.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice.
Anywhere.
And then you're like, hey, let's talk about mental health and
I
addiction.
know it's so anti-clim. It's like so different from who you are, but it's
Thank
so
you.
much more important because I you may not know this, but I dated a comedian once.
Oh, no way.
I did. I dated a guy by the name of Lou Dinos, and he used to get on set before Howie Mandel. He lived in California.
Oh,
Yeah,
no way. That he sounds like a comedy name. Ludi.
but he was very funny, but he was a very serious man. And I think that people really need to understand comedy is great. It's a talent. It is a gift.
Yeah.
And there's people behind that gift that do really serious things.
And we are like, and it's true. It's a good, sometimes it's a little bit of a cover of who we really
Yeah,
are. Comedy. I've always been the funny guy, but just like, yeah, you
the
really
coping
don't know what's
mechanism.
making people tick too. And you know what? That's what I love about it. It's some beautiful, crazy, amazing people that are just so talented and so amazing. Like the time I'm just so grateful for the time I got to spend with Matt Dillon and being on the road and you know him being giving my daughter first like stuffy and like so many and doing all these great amazing shows and experiences, so it's super grateful for that.
Yeah. I want to talk about the men's groups in town. What do you like? What's happening with the men's groups in town?
I,
Where are
I,
things that are going on for people to get connected?
okay, so for me, I don't know any of the. I know that there's the men's shed. I think it's
Yep.
called the men's shed
Men's shed,
house. Those
absolutely.
be
Yeah.
pretty good. But for me, I went to one. He doesn't do it anymore, but it was and it was amazing. But that was the one that we went, and that's not happening. But I also went to Tillicum Laylam.
Yes, Tillicum Laylam's amazing.
And which I mean, and everybody's like, "Oh, isn't that just for for Indigenous people?" No, it's for all nations. A gentleman by the name of Wayne Johnny, who is an absolute amazing human being, like does so much for our community. You know, and it's funny. Before I started going to this thing, he didn't even tell me about it, but I was sitting at. This is what I'm saying about checking in with people.
Yeah.
Um, I was sitting at Tim Hortons in the South End and I was drinking a coffee and just looking into dead air, just dead inside. And it's just about a month or two after it happened and he walked up to me and he just started talking. He felt something was wrong. And he
Yeah.
was and he just sat and talked to me and told me his story and just it was just when I needed a human connection from actually another man, not
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you know what I mean. That's the thing. It's like when we're going through stuff, need to be around men, and women need to be around women. It turns out we're different. Okay,
I know, right?
that's a
What a
little bit, but
surprise.
it's just it's so we need to, you know, to heal. I feel like we need to be around each other and bring each other up and put arms around each other.
Yeah.
And then, so anyways, a few months later, he really helped me just with that talk. And he was just like, he told me, you know, like hang in there. And he told me he's been sober for a long time now. And so my indigenous friend took me to Tillicum Laylam and they made like a deer chili
Oh, wow.
and they make like food and it's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think it's fine. I can never make it anymore because I'm working. Um, but and Wayne Johnny goes out into the forest and grabs medicine and makes tea.
Oh, yes.
And you sit in a circle, and even if it's just having a bad day at work, or if you're in a really bad spot, whatever's on your mind, man, you talk about it. And
Yeah.
and you have some ears that are listening, and you have some support. It's
I
beautiful.
I think I can already tell it's beautiful. I can feel the beauty in it. I do
Yeah.
know that the good news is, and I will add it to the bottom of the YouTube link as well, that there is, yes, a men's shed for sure.
Yeah.
But I also know that there was a men's agency, men's family life type agency
Mm,
that had been closed for a number of years, and apparently it has reopened again. So I'll connect the dots for
cool.
that because it's good to know that that's there.
Oh man, men's meetings are like
So good.
it just like I said because we internalize so much and just being able to talk and like I said it could be the silliest thing. But you know what? I learned this with my kids too, with my daughter. What's silly to you may not be silly to them,
Yeah.
you know, to another person. So, you know, take it in and let that voice be heard and honor honor people's voices, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, for sure. So in your growth and all of that, first of all, I'm curious about why you decided to get involved in mental health and addiction because that was in motion long before Matt passed, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, totally,
Yeah. So
totally.
what made you decide to go down that road?
What made me go? Okay, well, I've lived my, like I said, whole life. My mom's been massively depressed and just my whole life just like this. And I lived with some crazy with alcoholism. Um, and then I went into addiction and had my own mental health struggles. And I felt like, in 2009, I went to treatment and cleaned myself up. Got off hard drugs and I just always felt that it was my path. And just because as I got older, I became, when I cleaned up, I felt like I was starting to become a lot of growth, becoming a better person. Like, I was in gangs and sold drugs and did really bad stuff in my 20s. A lot of stuff that I still have a lot of guilt for, crime and some really heavy, heavy stuff. And hurt a lot of people. And I was just like, as I grew, I'm like, I want to be a part of the difference. And as I had my daughter, when I had my daughter, that inspired me. And I'm like, I want her to see her dad as a goddamn superhero that he is. You know what I mean? Like, I want her to like, and I remember when she was 4. I love this one. This I remember when I was 4. Somebody asked, "What does your dad?" When she was 4, somebody asked, "What does your dad do?" She's like, "My dad helps people and he makes people laugh." And
Oh,
I was just like, "I'm okay with that."
well, I think, I told you this before. I feel very, very blessed that you're my friend. I'll be honest with you.
Thank
Like,
you, you too. That's what very much so as well. You're a great person and you're doing great things. So,
thank you. It's very kind of you to say, but you are very inspiring. And I know that I said to you this in person, but I am happy to say it to the world tenfold. I grew up without a dad, and if I had had the opportunity to have a dad, I would want him to have been like you.
don't, oh
You
man,
are an amazing father.
I
You
am.
are
I will go with
so,
that.
you are.
I
You're
am.
an amazing father, and you do so much with your daughter.
I love her, and
And
it's
I know that your former partner has a lot of respect for you as well for the work that you do.
thank you, thank you. No, when we,
Yeah.
we have a good, and it was like it felt like when I had a daughter, I had got a clean slate to like really do it right. And
Yeah.
I always say, give your kids the life, and it doesn't mean giving them stuff,
That's not stuff, it's time.
but give them the emotional love and life that you wanted.
Yeah.
That's my standards right there, like of parenting. Like we talk about things. Even her mom's like, you're the emotional, supportive one, like parent, and we talk about things and we connect at the dinner table, and she's like my best friend. And yeah, thank you very much for that. I can honestly say I have done everything I can to be a really good dad and solid dad, and she inspires me to want to help my community and make it a better place.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that she picked a good dad when she came down from
Oh,
the heavens.
thank you.
So I want to talk to you now about another piece of this existence because, you've turned as we, talked about, in the middle of the hour there, we sort of talked about the fact that you're a comedian as well and a very
Yeah.
well-known one at that. How has this, you know, depression, mental health, suicide in your life, growing with a mother and a father that had, stuff going on, how has that shaped your comedy?
Oh, everywhere, man. It's given me so much material. And you write what you know, and you write what's funny. And it's been almost therapy for me just to be able to like break things down and laugh about them now. You know what I mean? Things that like there's things that my mom did that I probably could have held on to and not forgiven her for.
Yeah.
What I mean? And like really held on to it and not even like talk to her ever again. You know what I mean? But I
Yeah.
didn't, and I still love her and I'm still there for her. But they're not getting out of this free. There's some good jokes
Going
and
to come out of it
some,
afterwards.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
payback's a bitch.
and some processing. There's some processing going on, and that commits writing jokes. That's being said, when I went through my separation, I wrote. I was hurt. I
Yeah,
was the first year I was really hurt, and as my my ex partner got a new partner, I was really hurt and felt betrayed. And
of course, of
this
course.
guy's coming into your harem, and you get really protective of your child and all these things. So I just wrote I wrote probably like 10, 15 minutes of material of jokes about him, them, all of them
Yeah,
that I'll never even put on stage.
yeah, yeah.
I
It
didn't want
was
to
a
bring my
healer for you.
yeah, I didn't want to put my dirty laundry on one joke I had to keep. It's too good, but I didn't want to bring out my dirty laundry and talk about my ex partner like that. And what if my daughter sees it on camera and down the
For
hill
sure.
and sees me talking about her mom like that?
Yeah,
Like I'm not putting out those vibes to the world, but I told some friends. We sat there, we had some laughs. I told a couple of people, and
yeah,
then I put it to bed, and it helped me. So it was just
yeah.
writing it out and
So, and
told
we
me,
have to find constructive ways for us to deal with our grief and for to
yeah,
deal with change. And the sad part of the business and living is change is inevitable.
yeah.
How have you changed in the last 4 years since Matt has passed? Like, what's from when he died to where you are now, which is like 4 years later,
Oh yeah.
and the anniversary. Who are you today that you were not 4 years ago?
Oh man, that's a good question. I feel like my growth has just been amazing, especially the last year and a half, 2 years. Because right when I got out of my past there, I was broken and stuff, and I met a girl that after my separation and everything, and I met a
Yeah,
girl at a show. She was a singer, and she fell for me, and I fell for her, and I was just felt, she's this beautiful woman that's a little younger than me, and I was like, I felt really validated and stuff, but I didn't give myself time to grieve
yeah,
over like things. I just went into this relationship with all this mess as a mess, and of course, it's not going to work out. So we dated for about a year and a half, and then And then I was like that. So it's been about a year and a half, two, and then it didn't work out. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I didn't want it to happen, but it just happened. And I spent the last year and a half, 2 years being a single dad, like being really single and like really working on myself, no relationships. And, and how have I grown immensely? Like I'm not sweating the small things. I'm not hating people. I'm not like that's the thing. I'm not holding on things. I'm not holding grudges. I'm not holding resentments. It's a lot of work and it's really hard on yourself
yeah.
to have hate in your heart
Yes, so
and
true.
to having not liking people and talking about them and feeling this shit and like that. It's not just hard on the people around you. It's hard on you.
Oh yeah,
It's stressful.
yeah,
Like I just wanted to have love in my heart, and I put myself around people that are great and like good people and good around my daughter and healthy people. That's what I think. I think the biggest thing that I've come out in 4 years, and I say this to everybody, I say this to people because I work with a lot of people that are on the streets and addiction and stuff. I said, when you're sick, you hang out with sick people.
yeah,
The healthier you get, body and mind,
yeah,
the healthier people you will attract, the healthier people you'll have around you.
yeah,
And then you slowly get rid of the sick people around you. And
yeah.
then you just have, easier said than done, but it's true. You attract when you're healthy and mentally and throwing out vibrations and stuff and good vibes, you're attracting healthy people.
Was that a hard lesson for you to learn?
Yeah, yeah. I've hung out with some really toxic people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, I've hung out with some real toxic people. Some people like, but you just get to the point you're like, and it's not what they're like bringing. Oh, they're not bringing anything to the. It's just they suck. People suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
And I've also learned how to be alone and be okay in my skin and be like
Yes.
right now, like I'm home alone. I have a week off without my daughter. And at first, when we were first separated and stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm only happy when I'm with my daughter, and she brings me happiness. I'm so unhappy when I'm not with her. I'm like, you know what? That's not fair for her,
You're quite right
and
there.
it's not fair for me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's not fair for us to have those feelings. I have to learn how to be happy in my own skin, be happy, believe it or not, in silence,
yeah.
and have silence around me, and be okay with just something, just like I said, looking at the wall. And I think I've accomplished that a lot lately. Like my days that I don't have her, going for a walk, or I'm going cold water dipping, and going to the gym and taking care of myself and stuff, but also not isolating either. There's a fine.
There is a very fine line between being on your own and isolating. Very,
Yeah,
very fine line.
yeah,
And I like to think of it as I love my own company, right?
yeah,
Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
I'm out in community all the time. And so
yeah,
when I am by myself, I actually like myself enough
yeah,
to want to just hang with me. Now, having
totally.
said that, I've watched people that I know, especially the older that you get, right? The older that you get, the easier it is to start saying, no, I don't want to do this, and no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
what I'm learning as well, because you and I both work with mental health and addiction, one of the things that I know for sure is that I'm seeing older people now more than ever before that are going to the streets because of, not being able to take care of their rent, right?
it's crazy.
It's crazy. It's like
Yeah,
75 years of age and older,
yeah,
never had a problem, and now they're on the street. And not everybody's addicted. Not everybody's got
no,
a alcohol
no,
problem, right? Like that's a fallacy. However, when you are that down, like when your world changes like that, it brings us to the point of today's conversation, right? It brings us to
yeah,
this place of what's my point? What's my purpose? Why am I walking the earth right now when I don't feel like I'm accepted by the earth right now, right?
yeah,
So we
totally,
need to make that narrative shift, right? We need to make the
totally,
shift that doesn't matter who you are, what station of life that you're at, you are valuable, you are important, you matter
totally.
to somebody, right?
Hmm.
And even if that somebody is only God, right?
Yeah,
You matter to
100%,
somebody, right?
totally,
Yeah.
totally.
What have these lessons brought you over the last few years, working now on the streets, seeing people go through some
Oh,
really, really tough times? Like, has there been, I know this sounds, you can't pigeonhole people or put them in a box or whatever, but is there a line that you see that seems to be indicative of a person who might be leaning towards dying by suicide? Is there a thread that you see for people that are suffering with mental health and addiction that gets people, or is it random? Like people just are it to do with their capacity of their own business of living. What does that look like for you over the last 4 years working in the field?
yeah. Well, you don't usually, like, like for a person on with we're working on the streets and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, man. Well, for a person that's in super active addiction, they have such a low self value
yeah.
of themselves.
So true.
And they're almost on a mission themselves because they just don't care at some point, and that's where a lot of overdoses come from. You know what I mean? Because they've given up in a lot of ways. They've held their value. So you don't see a lot if on the I haven't seen a lot of like planned suicides
Uh-huh.
because they'll just put a ton of dope in
Yeah, they're
into
just
their
ODing.
body.
Yeah, yeah.
So like
Yeah,
that, they maybe want to die. So it's like that. It's just when, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's gonna
yeah,
happen. So um yeah, no, it's depression is and addiction really go hand in hand.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I
A
mean?
lot of
Like
people are passing away at home. A lot of people are dying by suicide at home. Uh,
yeah, oh yeah, totally. Like, and yeah, that's the thing. I feel like a lot of the ones that I know, like for actual like a suicide that they're a planned suicide are mostly people that are, working class people. And Jesus, sorry about that.
no problem. So working class people that are just, yeah,
Just working class people that are just struggling and can't make,
yeah,
their
yeah,
bill payments and their food payments, or a lot of alcoholism. a lot of because alcohol it's also such a depressant.
Of
People
course.
that get the drinking, like that's what happened to Matt. He'd been drinking for 2 months straight,
Wow.
and then decided he wanted to quit. Like his dopamines were down here,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I know that if he had just like snapped out of it, like been like he would have been like, "What the hell was I doing?"
Yeah.
I know that he was just in such a rut and in a swirl. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do.
So
I
so
do.
separations and breakups and money. Money is the biggest one of the is probably the I would say the biggest
Yeah.
objective towards suicide.
I,
Having
I
it's
I
money
think that you're
problems,
right.
man.
I think that there's a thread there when it comes to dollars and cents and being able to support yourself and support others in your
Your
life.
family and stuff
Yeah.
like yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah. Have you ever thought about dying by suicide?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Totally. I actually had a gun in my mouth before and I was ready to go, and it was so weird. It just wasn't my time, and it was so funny because I owed some money, and it was for drugs and stuff, and I had a gun in my mouth, and my friend called me, and I was an investment that I made like a long time before, and I had also got a bunch of money in it, like the snapping, made sure everything was paid, but it was like as I was in motion to do this.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
like somebody saying to me, anyways, yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, a couple times, but now there's, yeah, it scares me. You know, like life's short. We're going to be gone soon enough. You
Isn't
know,
that the truth? Hey,
yeah,
especially as we're getting older, I find that the days now are just going so fast.
we're flying.
They're just flying. I mean, I can't believe that we're leaning towards the holiday season here the way we are. And it's just like, what? Like, I'm still in January from last year. I'm nowhere near,
Totally.
you
And
know?
I have to think about this because I come from a long line, especially on my dad's side.
Yeah.
My great grandfather homesteaded in Alberta, outside Red Deer, Alberta. They say he cut down 100 trees by hand,
Wow.
and then homesteaded a house, built a home, had a
Wow.
family, and went into the barn with a bottle of rum and hung himself at 39 years old.
Oh my Lord.
That was my great grandfather. And every generation, we have a suicide in my family, especially out in Alberta. Lots of alcohol. Like I said, the
And it's
alcoholism,
cold. I mean,
and it's
Alberta's just
cold,
cold.
and the working thing, and people lose some money
Yeah.
and things. You know what I mean? Like it happens. So
So, because we know that this is such an issue, I think that it's important that we share with our listeners, what are some of the things that you and I can do as just being good society people, like just being just awareness around this topic. And what do you think, like is it our spidey senses that tell us something's going on? Like what kind of things do we need to watch for so that we can be of service?
well, just yeah, just some like isolation. Like I find it's the biggest thing. Like if you notice something's off, you like something's off. Person's isolating more than ever. They're different. They're just off. Drinking more. Like
Yeah.
people that are like binge drinking and like drinking or doing drugs. Like that could be a sign. Like there's lots of little signs, but you just don't know. But I think the biggest thing that we can do is just check in with somebody and be
Yeah.
like, hey, man, check in with our friends. Hey, are you okay? Even like leaving it on a social media thing. How are my friends today? You post it on there. Hope
Yeah.
you were okay.
Yeah, yeah, I think
We,
you're right. It can
we
be
love
something
you,
so
you know?
simple. We love you. Yeah.
Yeah.
We sure do love you, Peter Hudson. I must tell
You
you.
too,
We
Kathy.
sure
Thank
do.
you.
We sure do. Peter, we're just at the end of the program, and so I
Wow,
know
that was quick.
I know it's always quick. It's always quick when you and I get together. Always, always. But
Awesome.
listen, there's a couple things I want to make sure our audience knows. So you talked about 988 and
Yeah.
811 as being resources. You also
Yeah.
talked about Brooks Landing. Is there anything else you can think of that you would want for people to know where to go, or is there an email that people
Go
can?
see your go, if you're really feeling down, like there's some options, like you can go see your doctor, talk
Yes,
about it. But like I said, like you're not gonna get better unless you push yourself. Anything good in life is work.
yes,
Our mental health, our sobriety, if that's a problem, our relationships, our children's, our careers, our school. Like anything good in life is work, but you get what you put in. And,
Yeah.
if you're feeling down, go out, like just like I said, somebody told me, even if you're cleaning your house 5 minutes a day, you're still house cleaning,
Yeah.
doing something. Go for a walk, change it up. Something's not working. You know what I mean? Something in your life is not working. It's not all aligning. So align it. Like go out for a walk, get a hold of a friend, go out for a coffee. You know that you don't have to do all these 10 million things. For me, like vitamins really help me, like having proper nutrition, vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin B12, like a good multivitamin. Those help out a lot. They lift your mood. I go tan every 2 weeks. I hit the tan.
Yeah.
I go, I
That's
hit the
that
tan.
deep
I
warm.
well, I hit the tanning bed because it just gives me that vitamin D light, but I
Yeah.
know that I need it. Prepare yourself. Get Turn into a ninja. You got to be sniper ready. If you know you have
Yeah.
mental issues, make yourself sniper ready and know that this is happening. And like, I know this time of year is happening. I know Maddie's death anniversary is happening. So I'm prepared for this week. I got a friend coming over. We're going to go cold water dipping. You know what I mean? Reach out
Yeah.
because you got this and you're worth it.
Okay. So I have one last question for you because I know you've already given the wisdom. I didn't even have to ask you for the wisdom because you just gave a handful of wisdom. So I'm going to ask one last question. What would you, if Maddie was in front of you right this very moment,
Ah,
what would you like to say to your buddy?
I've been doing good. Um,
I know you have, and I'm so sorry that
that was
I've
a
got
nut.
you all
You should
emotional
just
now.
come out with the knockout punch on that one. What did I say? That you missed and you loved, and and we really miss you.
Yeah.
And I hope you're okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure he's walking beside you every moment of his time in the heavens. Absolutely. Thank you for being with us today, Peter. It was so great to spend this time. I'm so grateful.
Oh man,
Well,
you got me
I know.
good.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry, but you
That's
know what?
okay. Thank you.
The good news about it when you are emotional, you're such a passionate human. And when you do this on stage, when you are busy telling those jokes, I want people to know who you really are, which is one of the loveliest, kindest, most sensitive, gentle, so fantastic human being on the planet Earth. And I am so glad that you're my friend.
That means a lot to me, Kathy. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Appreciate
My
everybody that's
pleasure.
watching this. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you. All right, everybody. That does it for this episode of Act 3 on CHLY 101.7 FM. Don't forget to tune in to Rogers Cable 4 so that you can watch Act 3 there. As a matter of fact, on our Christmas program, which is coming out on the second week of December, Peter Hudson is going to be one of our guests that night. So we look very much forward for you to be listening to some of his good jokes because I got to tell you, they're pretty grand.
You
We
know
love
what? Maybe I'll bring my daughter with me.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Bring Juniper. That would be
Awesome.
grand. I'd love that. That would be awesome. All
Awesome.
right.
Thank you.
So tune in next time, everybody. We'll see you. Have a great day. Bye for now.